There is a number that a tournament chairman is not supposed to say out loud. 80%. That is how many ticket requests for the Mubadala DC Open are for one player, and she is not the defending champion. She is not even seeded. She is 20 years old, ranked 28th in the world, and by Wednesday night she will either be remembered as the player who finally broke Leylah Fernandez, or the player who got broken twice by the same woman in the same year. Her name is Alex Eala, and 48 hours before she was ever supposed to matter in this tournament, something happened on center court that changed the entire shape of the draw. She walked into Washington a virtual unknown to the American crowd, drawn in the very first round against an Olympic gold medalist, a former world number 4 with the kind of resume that ends debuts before they start. And for a set and a half, that is exactly what seemed to be happening. Alex went down a set, then down a break. The scoreboard was writing the story everyone expected, promising rookie, respectable effort, first-round exit. Except Alex Eala had read a different script. She won 7 straight games. Not one lucky hold, not a single shaky comeback that could be explained away by an opponent's nerves. 7 games in a row, against a woman who had stood on an Olympic podium to close out a 3-set win in her tournament debut. And when the match ended, she did not celebrate like someone who had survived. She walked into her press conference and said she now had, in her words, more ammunition. Sit with that word for a second. Ammunition is not the vocabulary of relief. It is the vocabulary of someone keeping score, someone who believes there is a debt still to be collected. And everyone in that press room understood exactly who she meant. Because 3 months earlier, on the red clay of Stuttgart, Leylah Fernandez had beaten Alex Eala without breaking a sweat. 6-1, 6-4. A little over 90 minutes. Alex was broken while serving just to stay alive in the match. The headlines afterward did not soften it. Pure control, no mercy, one of them read. It was not just a loss. It was a statement. And for a while, it looked like the kind of result that defines a rivalry before it even becomes one. The kind where one player simply owns the other's game. Now the two of them are on a collision course again, this time in Washington, this time in the round of 16, this time on hard court instead of clay. And this time, almost nothing about Alex Eala is the same as it was in April. Here is what makes Wednesday night dangerous for Leylah Fernandez. She is walking in assuming she already knows the answer to this matchup. She has home cooking. She has the title from last summer, when she dismantled Anna Kalinskaya in straight sets to lift the trophy. She has draw protection as the tournament's 7th seed. And on paper, seeding usually means something is deserved. Except in this case it is not. Fernandez sits at number 34 in the actual world rankings. Alex Eala sits at 28. The higher-ranked player is the one without a seed. The lower-ranked player is the one being protected. Read that again, because it tells you something the seeding committee will not say directly. On current form, this is not the matchup the numbers suggest it should be. And Fernandez's own words this week have not exactly radiated confidence. 90% of her press conference was Venus Williams, Shake Shack, and a wish to recapture whatever mental state carried her to the title last summer. She did not mention Alex Eala once, not on the record, not by name. Maybe that is simply focus. Or maybe it is a defending champion who does not want to say out loud what everyone else in that building is already saying for her. Because her season has not been kind to her. 12 wins, 19 losses in 2026. A second-round exit at Wimbledon, the same round she has been eliminated in for 3 straight years now. In her own words, it has been a little bit of a rough stretch. She arrived in Washington one bad week away from a genuine crisis of form, carrying a title defense that increasingly looks like the only thing standing between her season and total collapse. Meanwhile, the woman she beat so comfortably in April has spent the last 100 days rewriting who she is as a tennis player, and almost nobody outside of the Philippines has been paying close enough attention to notice how completely. 6 weeks after Stuttgart, on June 15th, Alex Eala won her first ever grass court title, surviving Nicole Fossa Huergo in 3 tight sets at the Lexus Birmingham Open. It was her first trophy on a surface she had barely competed on. 2 weeks after that, at Wimbledon, she took down Yulia Putintseva in straight sets, saving herself in a first-set tiebreak before running away with the match. That result pushed her to a career-high ranking of 28th in the world. By the end of the grass season, she had earned 89% of the fan vote for Breakout Star of the Swing. This is not a hot streak. This is a player whose ceiling analysts spent the better part of 2 years insisting was still years away, arriving early, in full public view, on every single draw sheet that now has her name on it. Compare that trajectory to where Fernandez has been standing. And then remember what is actually waiting on the other side of the net on Wednesday night. Because the tournament chairman already knows what this match means, and he said so with a bluntness that tournament chairmen almost never allow themselves. He stood in front of the assembled press and admitted that a single unseeded 20-year-old is driving the demand for his entire event. He talked about the roster of stars in this draw, and then said, plainly, that it says something about Alex's following. He called her an icon, not just at home, but worldwide. That is not a marketing line. That is the man whose ticket revenue depends on getting that assessment right, and he is staking his read of the moment on Alex Eala. There is a second endorsement, quieter but arguably heavier. According to her coach, Rafael Nadal, the greatest fighter clay tennis has ever produced, took the initiative himself to advise Alex Eala. Nobody asked him to. He was not obligated. He simply watched her play and decided her game was worth his attention. When a champion like that volunteers himself to a 20-year-old with no prompting, it is rarely about the present. It is a signal about what he sees coming. So walk back into that press room, into that word she chose. Ammunition. Alex Eala did not say she was ready to compete with Leylah Fernandez. She said she had ammunition, the language of someone preparing to collect something that is owed to her. And by the time she steps onto center court on Wednesday night, an entire country will be watching to find out whether she can actually spend it. Because this is no longer a quiet round of 16 buried in the middle of a summer draw. This is the match the whole tournament has quietly reorganized itself around, whether the seeding sheet admits it or not. None of this erases what actually happened in Stuttgart. That is the part worth being honest about, because a real story does not pretend the loss did not happen. Alex Eala walked off that clay court having been outplayed from start to finish, broken while serving to stay in the match, facing a second consecutive first-round exit on the European swing. There was no defiant social media post afterward, no statement, no public declaration that things would be different next time. She simply flew home, went back to work with her coaching team, and let the results speak instead of her. 61 days later, she was lifting her first grass court trophy in Birmingham. 2 weeks after that, she was shaking hands with a top-tier opponent at Wimbledon after taking her out in straight sets. That is not a coincidence, and it is not luck. That is the answer Alex Eala has already been building to the Stuttgart scoreline, one tournament at a time, for the last 3 months. Wednesday night, she simply gets to deliver that answer in person, on the same kind of stage, in front of the same kind of scrutiny, against the exact woman who handed her that defeat. Think about what that timeline actually demands from a 20-year-old. Most players who get beaten that badly, that publicly, spend weeks second-guessing themselves. Alex Eala spent those weeks rebuilding her entire season from the ground up, on a surface she had barely played competitively before that stretch even began. That is not the profile of a player who is intimidated by Leylah Fernandez. That is the profile of a player who used the loss as fuel and never once said so out loud until a press conference on Tuesday night handed her the opening. And the stakes reach far past this single match. Whoever wins Wednesday night does not just advance to a quarterfinal. She effectively claims the early storyline of the entire North American hard court summer. If Alex wins, she is projected to face either Jessica Pegula or Yulia Putintseva next, one match away from a WTA 500 semifinal on hard court, a milestone no Filipino woman has ever reached. From there, the tour packs up and heads to Montreal for the Canadian Open, on Fernandez's home soil, before landing at Flushing Meadows for the US Open. And there is a detail sitting quietly inside that next chapter that makes this rivalry even sharper. Alex Eala is set to partner Venus Williams in doubles at that same US Open. Venus Williams, the very player Leylah Fernandez has publicly called her mentor. The attention, the mentorship, the spotlight, all of it is shifting hands in real time, and the tennis world has already noticed. For a Filipino audience, this is not simply a round of 16 match buried on a Wednesday night schedule. Millions will be watching from home, and millions more scattered across the Washington, Virginia, and Maryland corridor will be tuning in at 11 o'clock at night Manila time. This is the closest women's tennis has come to producing a moment on the scale of the country's biggest boxing nights, except this time it is happening on a tennis court, and the fighter is 20 years old. When Alex Eala walks out onto center court on Wednesday, she is not walking out to prove that she belongs in this draw. She has already proven that, in a 3-set battle against an Olympic champion, in front of a home crowd that showed up specifically to watch her play. She is walking out to collect something. A debt that Leylah Fernandez may not even fully understand she is carrying, one written in a 6-1, 6-4 scoreline from a clay court in Germany that feels, after everything that has happened since, like it belongs to a completely different version of both players. Because here is the truth neither side can escape. The Alex Eala who lost in Stuttgart was still finding her footing on tour, still searching for her identity as a top 30 player, still absorbing lessons that would take months to show up in results. The Alex Eala walking into Washington is not that player anymore. She has a grass court title she did not have in April. She has a career-high ranking she did not have in April. She has the informal blessing of Rafael Nadal, a man who does not hand out his attention lightly. And she has a tournament chairman standing in front of live cameras admitting that she, not the defending champion, is the reason people bought tickets. Leylah Fernandez still has the trophy. She still has the seating. She still has the home crowd behind her, technically, even if that crowd's loudest requests keep circling back to the woman standing across the net from her. What she does not have, not anymore, is the element of surprise. She knows exactly who is walking in. The only question left is whether knowing is enough to stop what is coming. Every champion eventually meets the version of an opponent they have already beaten once, and assumes the outcome will simply repeat itself. It rarely does. The players who go on to define a rivalry are the ones who use an early loss as information rather than as a verdict, and everything about Alex Eala's last 100 days suggests that is exactly what happened after Stuttgart. She did not need to say she had changed. Birmingham said it. Wimbledon said it. The ranking sheet said it. The only thing left to say it now is a scoreboard in Washington, under lights, in front of a crowd that showed up specifically to watch her try. So here is the question actually worth arguing about before the first ball is struck. Can Alex Eala take that 6-1, 6-4 Stuttgart scoreline and flip it completely on a faster surface, against a champion defending her own turf? Or is Leylah Fernandez still a level above her when everything is on the line and the trophy is hers to lose? There is no safe answer here, and that is exactly why the whole tournament has quietly reorganized itself around this single match. A chairman does not admit that 80% of ticket requests belong to one unseeded player unless he already senses which way the story is bending. A 3-time Grand Slam champion does not volunteer his coaching advice to a 20-year-old unless he already sees the outcome the rest of the tour has not caught up to yet. And a player does not walk out of a press conference using the word ammunition unless she has already decided, in her own mind, exactly how this rematch is going to end. Drop your predicted score before 8 o'clock Wednesday night in Washington, 3 sets or a straight set statement, and find out if you read this moment correctly before the rest of the tennis world catches up. Because whatever happens on that court is only the opening chapter. Montreal comes next. Then Flushing Meadows, with Venus Williams waiting in the doubles draw. The people calling this correctly right now are the ones who will be quoting themselves for the rest of the season.